Well, fourth graders, this is the assignment for packing a covered wagon. It's under the Oregon Trail. You already have been there. You should have already opened the packing a covered wagon Google Slides, or you wouldn't be hearing me right now because that's where this video is. In this packing a covered wagon, we have the first slide, which has some video clips about the wagon. Those were actually on last week's assignment. This slide has two video clips, which you do not have to watch both of them, but if you did, great. They are what were items that were taken or suggested that they should be taken on the Oregon Trail. This slide number 4 are items that each person, notice it says each person, took in their covered wagon. So if your covered wagon has at least 2 people in, you should be doubling this. And your covered wagon will have at least 2 people in it, you and someone else. The slide number 5 is this video, so we're not going to go over that. I'm going to leave this open because we're going to want to refer back to that. In our classwork tab, we also have a list here of supplies for the Oregon Trail. These were items that people took. Not all of these items were taken in each wagon. Some were dispersed through different wagons. Some were not taken at all by some people. You get to choose which items you want to take with you. Remember, whatever you take will need to help you survive along the trail, which could be 3 to 6 months, and they are items that you're going to need to start your new life once you reach the area in Oregon. Now, we're going to leave this open because you're going to need this. Let's come back to our classwork tab. Now we're going to come here to packing your covered wagon. And before I open that, I want to just go to here. This packing your covered wagon is where we're going to actually make our own spreadsheet. If you don't want to watch this again because you need a little extra help on how to fill out this spreadsheet, there are steps by steps written right here in this tutorial for creating the wagon packing. I'm going to open this. The first thing I need to do is this says example. Yours will have your name at the top, so you don't really have to worry to put your name on it unless you would like to click number E and put your name. You can do that. You'll notice that it's divided down a list by item, quantity, that means how many of that item you're going to take, and the weight of each of that items. So if I am going to take flour, because it was suggested on this that I take 200 pounds of flour for me and 200 pounds of flour then for the other person in my wagon, and I wanted to take that flour, I would come back to my spreadsheet and I would write flour. I'm going to take 2 of those bags of flour, and according to this list, flour is 150 pounds. So 150 pounds, and this says I should take about 200. I'm going to say 300 pounds should be enough. So 150 pounds, 150. Now 2 times 150 is 300 pounds. This column that says cost is optional. Total cost is optional. These 2 columns are what you would do if you are going to want a 4, and I'll go over those later. So I'm going to color them yellow to come back to them. So when you have this spreadsheet here, and I added the sugar, and it's 2, I wanted 2, and then I got to find out how much weight it is. So I look over here and sugar is 50 pounds, but if I look in the covered wagon, it says I need to have at least 25 pounds of sugar. So I'm going to take 2 50-pound sacks of sugar. I must like sugar, I guess, huh? So I put 50. And then I want to figure out this, but let's say I don't know that 2 times 50 is 50. There's a way I can do that. To figure that out, I could press the equal sign, which is in the top, click on the 2, then hold the shift and press the number 8. That gives me the multiplication sign. Then click on the 50, and when I press enter, it then does the math for me. If I want to keep track so I don't go over 2,500 pounds, in this column, I'm going to come way down here, like to this number 50. Click. I'm going to delete what I have there so you can see. Click, then come up to the top, and you see this backward-looking E thing? That's called a summation. If I click on this E and then say sum, that's the top. Do you see how it has the parentheses there? I can click in this box and slide all the way down. Keep your mouse held down. All the way down, keep your mouse held down till you get to just on top of that box. Now I'm on top of that box, so I let go of my mouse, press enter on my keyboard, and it will keep track there. Anytime a number goes in here, it'll automatically add it down there. Anywhere down that line. If you get rid of a number, it'll subtract it out of there. So it's a great way to keep track to make sure you don't go over 2,500 pounds. Once you have completed this, make sure you press your submit, and then I'll grade it and get back to you. Make sure you have some food, make sure you have clothes, make sure you have water, make sure you have something to use when you get to your new location, and some form of protection. If you have any questions, make sure you email them on the list. Now, if you want to do a 4, that's this section here. The only way to do a 4 would be to figure out the cost. To figure out the cost, that's not on the sheet. But in your tutorial here, it has a link that has the cost of the different items. This cost link is, if you scroll down right here, see this right here? If I click on this and then here, you'll see it takes me to the rubric on how you're being graded right there. And this says 2,000, but we're going to 2,500. This is another list of supplies, and beside that list are prices of what it costs for that amount. So if I have 50 pounds of rice, but it says 1 pound of rice is 5 cents, I'm going to have to multiply 50 times 5 cents. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you either email me or put it in Google Classroom. Be creative, be a pioneer, pack your own wagon. I look forward to seeing what you've chosen.